Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone. This is the Tarda Zone Talks, and we need to have a little bit of a chat about Ncuti Gatwa's behaviour. Yes, it's not the first time that we've actually done a stream in relation to Ncuti Gatwa's behaviour, so we will be talking about that. We got Garbage in the chat, we got Lindsay in the chat. Happy New Year to you all. I know it's been a good while since I've done a proper live stream. Excuse me. But my plan was to do some live streams over the Christmas, but that didn't materialize. I just hadn't got the energy. I wasn't feeling great. Now, I wasn't too sick or anything like that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was absolutely like puking all over the place and stuff. I wasn't, but I just had a lack of energy, and I just wasn't. I got to be honest, I wasn't feeling it. Even when the Christmas special come on and I can watch it any time, I haven't even watched the Christmas special yet. But we will be coming back for another stream this week to actually do the watch along of the Christmas special. And then another day, then we're going to be doing our panel review. I'm going to see if I can get some people on panel. I know it's, probably most people have covered the Christmas special, but that'll be a good thing because they'll know what they'll want to say. So that'll be absolutely brilliant. But just on ratings, because I have seen it, the ratings are the lowest for a Christmas special, so the show isn't doing great. You got the usual spin from the usual suspects. Also, no news on the renewal of Doctor Who right now. Again, as I've told you, a decision will be made this year. It wasn't renewed like some people had claimed, and it still hasn't been renewed. Now the new one from the person that claimed that it is renewed is that filming is going to start beginning in January. So this month, according to him, the filming is going to be starting. Unfortunately for him, when you go through past the past, they've announced that the series is coming back, and then they started filming. So I don't think they're going to start filming without informing the public that Doctor Who is back. So, as I said, wait for the official word on Doctor Who, because I have heard some reports myself that a decision has been made. So we will just have to wait for the official announcement. Will Doctor Who continue? Will Doctor Who be put on hiatus, or will Doctor Who be shelved? And that's the question that Doctor Who fans are asking. But I just want to say, before we get into Ncuti, I just want to say to the Doctor Who fans who are spinning the ratings, I just want to say something to you, right? And I'm not having a go. I just want you to think about this logically, right? And I mean it. Just think about it logically. You did the same thing during the Jodie Whittaker era, right? You did the same thing with Chris Chibnall and his writing. He's defended him, right? He's defended the show's ratings. You defended the show's AI, right? And the show was in a state, okay? Now, the person in question that's saying filming is going to begin said that Jodie Whittaker was going to be the Doctor for series 13, 14, and 15, okay? Jodie Whittaker was here for a long time, and she was going to become the longest serving Doctor of all time, right? Now, this is why I came out and I called this person out, because they were going around calling fans bad Whovians and doing videos and basically slagging everybody off and slating everybody off based on the fact that he has no information himself, but he's just fucking putting things together, 2 and 2 together, and he's getting 7. right? The bottom line is you should always wait when it comes to Doctor Who. You should always wait for the official announcement. Yes, people like myself, Dan, and others that do legitimately get information will share that information, and we have shared that information over the years. Dan from the Space Book, of course, go and follow Dan on the Space Book. He's the only one that I would listen to anyway. If you are asking me, because I've had experience at doing this for years, if you want to, listen to anybody talk about the latest Doctor Who rumors or whatever that's going on in this with our show, then the best channel to go and listen to on all of that stuff would be Dan's channel. Obviously, if I'm doing it, then you come here as well. But what I'm saying is Dan is doing it now. I've kind of taken a step back from it, as you all know. And Dan, as I am aware, gets some information. So, go to his channel. He's received information on Doctor Who, whether it's been renewed or not over time, as you know. And he even backed me up when I called that person out and said, well, things in the industry can change overnight. And that's what I'm trying to tell everybody. We got others out there because they found a strategy for Disney and BBC moving forward, and it included Doctor Who, and everybody thinks, oh, well, that means then Doctor Who is safe. It means jack shit. They had a strategy for Star Wars going forward, right? And then Star Wars did so bad that they gave us The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian wasn't part of the original strategy, right? And this is what I want to say to people out there that are using that as spin, right? The bottom line of the matter is that things in the industry could change overnight. So your strategies mean absolutely jack shit, right? Your strategies mean absolutely jack shit. Like Zack Snyder had a strategy for DC. Didn't stop the heads at DC from getting rid of him and replacing him. So for all these fans out there that are living in hope because they say that as part of the strategy moving forward, it means jack shit. And people need to stop being naive about this, right? But again, I'll go back to the people that are spinning these ratings and are saying, that RTD's writing is fantastic. He's made the same mistake during the Chris Chibnall era. And look what happened. He ran the show into the ground. It was getting cancelled. And it was getting cancelled. And now he's repeating the same thing this time around. Instead of calling RTD out, and I've seen some of these YouTubers saying they weren't fans of certain things that art, but you won't call him out fully. You need to call this man out. He has ruined Doctor Who. He's ruined Doctor Who. I'm sorry. It might be hard for you to believe, right? But the ratings don't lie. And I don't care, by the way. I just want to make the point. I don't care if Doctor Who is doing well with a certain age group, right? The bottom line is, right, if you're doing that, right, here's the thing that's actually hypocritical about you all. When Jodie Whittaker came along as the Doctor, he's tried to, he's made out that women needed a doctor and all of this, but then he's tried to claim that Doctor Who was for all, right? And then he's proceeded then to bully the fandom and push out people that have been supporting and watching Doctor Who all their lives, right? And now he's doing the same thing again this time around. He's repeating history again. The show is not doing well, right? And it might be doing well with a certain age group, right? But overall, right, the audience today has not taken to Doctor Who. And Doctor Who fans have certainly not taken to Doctor Who or this version of Doctor Who. By God, I'm even seeing people, even myself, I've said it. I would rather sit down and watch a Jodie Whittaker episode of Doctor Who than watch anything that RTD has produced now. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I don't like Jodie as the Doctor. But you know what? It still felt like Doctor Who, even though Jodie was a shit Doctor. It's at least you knew it had some sort of remnants of Doctor Who, right? The show that RTD is giving us now is nothing like the Doctor Who. He's tried to recreate, but he's failed miserably because he can't help himself with his personal ideology and politics. And again, this is the biggest mistake. By the way, here's some news for you, right? For all the Doctor Who fans out there, and for Star Trek fans, by the way. So Lower Decks, that cartoon, and I see Problem being is in the chat, and problem being Lee will know about Lower Decks because me and him tried to watch it on this fucking channel and we couldn't get past, I think it was episode 4. It was that fucking cringy. But that show has retconned, right, has erased from canon Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery has been fucking erased from canon. Right, so acting is possible in the TV industry, by the way. We did fucking struggle, didn't we, mate? It was fucking, they were doing little crude, dirty little adult jokes and all. It just didn't sit right with me. Like, it didn't sit right with me. I've heard apparently since then it's gone on to do very well, and it's actually gone on, you know, to do some good stories, which I hope it is true. But, you know, it wasn't my jam. I preferred the Janeway one. I know that was a bit more for kids, but it did have adult themes in it as well. But I did prefer the Janeway one that they did. That was much better, I think, personally speaking. But on to Ncuti. Actually, before I do start, because I haven't had any people on, I do see the usual suspects are in the chat. So what I'll do is, if you want to come on, right, and talk about Ncuti Gatwa's behaviour. Some of you are on Instagram. Some of you have seen the video that I'm talking about. By the way, I'm not going to show you the video here, right? Someone put a little video of the pictures of him. I'll tell you now in a minute what he did, right? But I'll put it on YouTube. I know YouTube will take it down for nudity and for being disgusting. And this is what I can't understand, right? And by the way, I know before I have this whole conversation, right, about Ncuti Gatwa, I know there are going to be Ncuti Gatwa fans out there, and these morons that are spinning the ratings are going to come after me and say, well, it's his personal Instagram account. Well, I'm going to say something about that as well. So don't worry, I have all bases covered for this, because we do have to talk about his behavior, because he's been pulled up on his behavior several times, as we know to date. Okay, and it seems to me and others that are watching from the outside that this seems to be another little like, do you remember when the RTD came around 2000 and all this stuff came out about John Barrowman and all, and the behavior behind the scenes was you know, was the atmosphere was like you know, it wasn't great. And there was a lot of things going on that shouldn't have been going on. Well, apparently history is repeating itself behind the scenes, right? And we've already heard of incidents with Millie Gibson, with her being a bit of a diva. With Ncuti Gatwa was reprimanded for smoking. Remember, he was seen smoking. He was reprimanded for smoking. And he has said some outlandish things as well. But the latest video for me is where I get pushed over the edge on this whole thing, because he is representing Doctor Who, and he's not just representing Doctor Who, right? The lead of the show is representing Doctor Who fans as well, right? The lead is representing Doctor Who fans as well, right? And they've got to behave a certain way, right? Whether they like it or not, it's not business as usual when you take the role of the Doctor, okay? Peter Capaldi never did half of the stuff that Ncuti has done. I don't think even Matt Smith or David Tennant, to be quite honest, went as crazy as we've seen with Ncuti. There's always been, even with Christopher Eccleston, right? We've never seen this type of behaviour with the lead. The lead has always been respectful. Even when Christopher Eccleston, remember, was sacked, right? He was still going around doing interviews with Doctor Who, and look how he conducted himself professionally, right? And this is the point. He's the lead of a family TV show. Now, when I mentioned he was the lead of a family TV show, someone came back at me with a load of laughing emojis. What are you laughing for? Doctor Who is a family show. It's a family show. It's not a kid's show. It never was. It was a family show. It was a show so the family could sit down back in the day for 20 minutes or 25 minutes, whenever it was, sit down around the table while they were eating their tea. It was a family show. So it has family values. Anyway, I'm putting the link in the chat. If anybody wants to come on, if you have seen the video, it's basically Ncuti with his phone in his hand. He's naked from the top down. He's naked from the top half, and he's got a pair of green fluorescent shorts on, and he's fixing his junk on camera. He's fixing his junk on camera, right? You can actually see the size of his fucking submarine, right? Okay, so he's messing with his junk. And if you think that that behavior is appropriate around his young fans, and yeah, okay, people, listen, see, this is where the hypocritism comes in from the other side, because I've always said that young people shouldn't be on social media, right? Okay, I always say that young people shouldn't be on social media. But these gobshites will argue, well, it's his account and all of this, and he can do whatever he wants. Right, that's fair enough if there wasn't kids on the site. But there's kids on Instagram. And there shouldn't be kids on Instagram anyway, in my opinion, but there's kids on Instagram. So he has to set a standard, right? He's a role model. He's a role model, okay? And for him to be doing that in a video, right? Okay? And not even, on social media, I don't know much about Instagram. I don't know if you can actually, put up a video and let certain people just look at it of a certain age group and all of this other nonsense. I don't think you can do that. I don't know. But I don't think it's appropriate to see Ncuti Gatwa standing in front of a mirror, right, with his phone in his hand, fixing his junk. Right? Half naked. Now, I know some of the people out there, when they seen that photograph, probably, had heart palpitations and all of that and whatever, right? Nobody gives a shit about that, by the way, right? But it's inappropriate for a lead of a family TV show to be behaving like that. And if you think that I'm being harsh, I'm not being harsh. And if you think I'm picking on Ncuti Gatwa, I have defended Ncuti Gatwa on this channel till I'm blue in the face. Even against people in my own chat, when they said they don't think he's a great doctor, I've always said he has potential, and I think if he was given the right script and the right showrunner and the right direction, we could actually get something out of Ncuti. But the thing is, like Jodie Whittaker, we will never find out. Anyway, there's the link. If anybody wants to come on and give their personal opinion on the fact that he is put that video out, and what your opinions and thoughts are on the behavior and how a lead of this show should behave. How should the lead of this show behave? Because we've seen since RTD has come back, we have also seen Monsoon. What was it? Jinx Monsoon. I was going to say Monsoon Jinx because I've forgotten about the bleeding idiot. But Jinx Monsoon also did the podcast. Remember after you were announcing talking about condoms up their backside? Like, this was the type of talk that we were getting in the Doctor Who fandom around Doctor Who fans, right? And I even called out Jinx Monsoon. I said, this is absolutely disgusting for you to be talking about things like this when you're working on a show like Doctor Who, a family show like Doctor Who, right? Because, there needs to be more caution, because young fans today, especially today, they like to go on to the social medias, they like to go onto the internet and find obscure videos and to find old interviews and all of this of their cast members, because you know how they go overboard with their praise and their hype, and it's like a worship thing that goes on with them. So this is why I do believe that the lead actor should have a little bit of more respect for himself, first of all, but respect for the fans and the show. And I don't think it's a good look, as I said, Ncuti standing in front of a mirror, and it's not the first time, but this is the first time he's put his hands on his penis, right? And I'll say it out straight. He put his hands on his penis to fix his penis, right? That's not a good look. I'm sorry. And if anybody tries to defend it, I'll just say this: I'd be ringing the police to be checking your electronics, to be quite honest with you, if you're justifying that. As I said, if he's not working on Doctor Who, I don't give a shit what he does. He could take off all his clothes for all I care, right? But he works on Doctor Who, right? There's a certain standard, and he's already being called out for not keeping up with those standards because he was caught with a cigarette in his mouth, right? So he's being called out before. And I've also heard some disturbing information that about the space babies and all of this other stuff. There was carry on going on during that fucking space babies episode and all of that. The fact is, though, I don't have any evidence to back up what has been told to me, and I've told the person. And by the way, I just want to make clear, it's not from me normal sources. This is from someone who works in the comic book industry, who actually gets in the fucking Doctor Who merch, and they were told some information in relation to the show, and were told some things. So I've said to the person that told me to go and get that information, I need proof. You can't come to me and say, well, shoot, he was supposed to do this, and you don't have any proof of it, because he can't report on things like that. And I won't report on things like that. But the simple fact of the matter is, as I said, there has to be proof when you're making, making some comments like that, in fairness. But as I said, the link is in the chat. If anybody wants to come on, give their opinion on how they think that the Doctor should behave themselves, you're more than welcome to come on. We've already got someone in the studio, so if anybody else wants to join, you're more than welcome. We won't be on too long discussing this, don't worry, so I'll let you go pretty soon. I just want to ease myself back in onto the channel, It's just been it's been 2024 was a hell of a year. And while everything is just kind of slowly coming in, because it's January, I know in the next couple of weeks now it's going to be full steam ahead in this country. We're really on top of it here in Ireland. I know I've seen how bad it is in the UK. We won't discuss it on this channel, of course, because we get into trouble. But I just wanted to absolutely say that you people in the UK now are in a position that we were in last year. And the question you have to ask yourselves is, are you going to tolerate 4 more years or whatever it is of the Labour Party? I think, look, you were in a fucked up situation anyway, right? Because you had the Tory Party. That was the other option, because we're far more nowhere anywhere, right? So that was the options you actually had. But yous have been rightly fucked over big time in the UK, and I'm looking with shock. I just can't believe what's happening. I even made the point on my other channel, like, where's the great in Great Britain? What happened to a country that had an empire that's just allowed themselves to be absolutely taken over? It's actually sad. It's actually sad. I've got to be honest, because it affects us all. This is no time for Irish people to be slagging off the Brits, or Brits to be slagging off the Irish people. We need to be sticking together here. And what I've seen in the UK, I absolutely am. My heart is broken for you, and broken for all of those victims. The fact, listen, we all kind of knew, without going into details, we all know that our governments have been covering up shit. And even in Ireland, it's the same. There's been cover-ups, and it's absolutely disgusting. And the people of England, especially now, you need to decide what kind of country you want to live in, right? He's only recently had an election. You have to wait now, and I don't think you can wait. So you have to make a decision. Our country is going to be absolutely gone in 5 years' time if you don't do that. And we're in the same situation here, by the way. I'm blue in the face telling nationalists that we need to be doing more, and we're not doing enough, but it's falling on deaf ears. So my country is going to go as well. So we're in the same boat. But anyway, we'll leave it there on that, because I don't want to keep going on that, because it's depressing. Question, Noel, do you think Ncuti is acting like this because he's put as the Doctor? He's out as the Doctor, you mean? I was thinking about that, Charlotte, because Dan, I think, has spoken about, and I have spoken about, there were rumours swirling around that Ncuti Gatwa was sacked, right? And I never really kind of fully believed it, because they were kind of doing the same thing with Jodie Whittaker, and I thought, nah, maybe there's, but you know what, looking at it now, Charlotte, I think you're probably right. He also missed out on the movie that won the Golden Globe, There was a movie that won the Golden Globe. He was supposed to be in that movie, but because of conflicts with because he was filming with Doctor Who and he had other engagements, he couldn't star in that movie. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ncuti has actually looked at it and saying, well, he's getting roles in Hollywood and he could have been in a Golden Globe winning movie. I think he's probably said, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. He's probably left. Right. I'm not saying he has, because I don't want your man, you want that says everything is true but isn't. I don't want him thinking that I'm saying he's gone. Right. I'm just giving my opinion on it. But if I was to look at it logically, I would say he's probably pissed that he's missed out and think about it, because he would have got a nice healthy paycheck there as well. And the Golden Globe winning movie would have gave him more exposure. He's already starred in the Barbie movie, so he was already getting some roles. So maybe Doctor Who in this case will become a hindrance for him. So I don't know. But look, I'm not leaving me two guests. If you want to come on, Charlotte, for a few, because we won't be on long. If you want to pop on, you're more than welcome to pop on. There's the link. I've got two people in the panel now at the moment, so I'm going to bring them on. And they're the usual suspects, so it's great that we're starting back the first train with the usual suspects. So I suppose I'll leave this fella to last. So we'll bring this fella on, and then we'll bring the bigger guest on. Money messing. Anyway, we got Jordan Jack Rabbit, but he's just calling himself Jack Rabbit on this now. So there's Jack Rabbit. Jack, happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, no? Great to hear from you again.
Yeah, it's been a while. Charlotte is going to come on. That's absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. But we've got the other queen with us today. The true queen, not the Queen of England, because, she's dead and buried 6 feet under. It's the problem being.
The last thing anyone needs is more Ncuti Gatwa exposure.
I want it to, right, we'll get straight into it. I mean, look, I'm not sitting here and saying that he can't do that sort of stuff, right? What I'm saying is, though, while he's working on Doctor Who, because he's supposed to be a role model and stuff, he should be very careful of what he posts up on social media. And I don't think it's a good look. And this doctor, as you know, this actor has already been called out, Lee, for his smoking. He was caught on camera smoking, and he was reprimanded apparently by RTD for that. He should be the one that raises the standards here. He should be the one that should know that he shouldn't be really standing in front of a mirror fixing his junk, because he has a young fan base out there now.
Does he, though? I mean, are any kids really watching this show anymore? I don't know. I'd love to know the demographics. I just doubt it. But yeah, if Tom Baker can quit smoking in public whilst he was in the role, I fail to understand. No, what are you doing? I failed to know how this guy keeps getting away with all this stuff. Well, we know why, but there's no excuse for it. There really isn't. And as to Charlotte's point earlier about whether or not it's because he's no longer in the show, I don't see any difference in the way he's behaved anyway. I think speaking of the devil, I think she might be right, but I think as well his behavior over the last few years hasn't really altered. He's done pretty much the same. I sent you a picture, Noel, on Instagram in your DMs. You might want to have a look at that. It's from his own Instagram feed, and it's got pictures of women's butts.
Yeah.
From behind, like fully clothed, but doesn't leave much to the imagination. I'm like, what is that about? Isn't that misogyny? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, how are you, Charlotte, and how are you, Matt? Sorry, I'm just checking on that post from sorry if I'm crackling on Instagram there. That Lee sent me. I want to see it.
Jack was saying something.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack. Go ahead, but welcome, Queen Charlotte and Matt. Nice to have you on board.
Hey, all.
Can I really check? I'm on the iPad. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Jack. You go ahead, Jack. Go for it.
I was was just going to say he's just not a very pleasant person, to be honest. He's just hypersexual, and I just don't think it's a good look for him. I don't think it's a good look for the show. And you know what? It upsets me more because it really kind of creates a stereotype around gay people, that they're just these hypersexualized, you know, and I don't want to use that nasty word, but you know what word I mean.
Yeah.
People, you know, and I know many friends who I didn't even think they were until they told me, you know, and it just made me realize, well, actually, you know, it's not a big thing in many ways. It's just these people who see it as more of a fashion, you know, and they have to get all up in our faces with it. But it's the hypersexualness that really turns me off. It's just not something that I want to see, and it should never be something that is associated with Doctor Who, because it disgraces all the classic Who writers who, you know, went out of their way to ensure that kind of stuff was never in the program. You know, and it was RTD that started bringing it in the 2000s. You know, like, okay, it could have been more wink wink back then, but I still don't think really it should have been in there, especially on my most recent rewatch.
You know what? You make a good point about the 2000s, because, yeah, you're right. He did introduce that. There was that sex appeal and stuff like that. But we didn't take it too serious because he wasn't taking it too serious. But there's those photographs that, and I've looked at them properly in the Instagram there, and I have to say, I agree with Lee. I don't see the point of these type of photographs. I mean, you've got one woman, she nearly has her finger in her mouth there, simulating that she's sucking on something, right? I'll just say that. And then the arse pictures are there as well. They're literally naked underneath their leggings there, and you can see everything. I mean, I don't think for a person that's on a family TV show should be posting content like that, unless, and I know people will argue, well, it's his private Instagram account, but the point is, whether he likes it or not, children are on social media. They are, and they will be looking at all of this. And I don't think, like Jack, you know, the writers back then were very careful. They didn't want any sexual innuendo or any of that stuff.
It's not just the show that he represents now. This represents the entire history of the show. This represents Barry Letts, Robert Holmes, Terence Dix, Philip Hinchcliffe, Tom Baker, John Pertwee, all those wonderful, wonderful people who have produced wholesome family entertainment for decades, only for this gimp to come along and present himself as an absolute tart of a man. And
I haven't heard that word in fucking years.
It's true. And it's not appropriate. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is. If this was a straight man doing this, it shouldn't be allowed. It should be in the contract that he has to behave in a certain way, because he's representing the BBC. He's representing, you know, well, we know what that's about anyway. But so
hold on, they'll probably suit the image.
I think he represents you very well. But it shouldn't be that case. You know, it shouldn't be in the gutter like this. This is gutter nonsense. And I just think it's such a shame and an embarrassment and an insult to all those wonderful people, the better people who went before him and his antics, and Russell T. the Davis, and his disgusting allowing this behavior to go on in social media, representing 60 odd years of this show. I can't imagine what Verity Lambert would have made of this.
In fairness, I don't think RTD paints himself in a pretty picture on Instagram either, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's liking all of these shooty posts as well.
Well, let's be clear, the only reason he cast Ncuti Gatwa is because he fancied him, and we know it. That's the only reason.
Well, he can't act, can he?
Well, no, he cannot. And the fact he's got 2 million views, 2 million followers on Instagram, they're not following because they like his talent. Let's put it that way. Or maybe a talent in certain other areas,
with a link to Palestine, I noticed too.
Well, naturally, you know, because you know, Jew hatred is fashionable nowadays.
It feels like, and I've just had this general feeling for a while with Ncuti, that the term I use is professionally detach himself from the role, as in he's not making appearances at like the Christmas. They had a premiere for it. They had an episode showing. They had a load of actors there. Ncuti was nowhere to be seen. The proms, he wasn't there physically. He did a recorded video. It's like so many instances where he could have physically been there as the Doctor. He's not been there because he's either had commitments somewhere else or he's just not bothered.
He's acting bigger than what he actually is, and it's a diva-like behaviour, frankly.
But that's what I mean.
But it hasn't helped.
It's like this is what I mean by this detachment. It's like he doesn't want to be seen as promoting himself as the Doctor right now, which I don't understand. Like, this is the role that you should be putting all your priority on.
Well, even if he's out at this point, he is still contracted.
Yes, until it's official.
His second season is still yet to be aired. He's still, quote unquote, the Doctor, for want of a better word.
Yeah, no, you're right, though. Pop spot on.
He should still be behaving like he is the Doctor, even though the chance would be a bloody
that's my point. It's like he's not. It's and like it's not just even a Doctor thing. Like there's other actors that you see them and like the way they talk about the role or they present in interviews, they've got this real passion and love, and I get none of that from Ncuti.
It's so surface level.
It's a job.
Yeah,
I think he's gone. I'm going to say it out straight now. I haven't been told whether he's gone or not, but if I was a betting man, I think he's gone. I do, and I don't know whether he was sacked or whether he left, but I do know, and I've found out recently that he was supposed to be in that Golden Globe winning movie that won the singing one, and he couldn't do it because of prior engagements to Doctor Who, and I say he is a bit. I'd say he is a bit hurt about that because this role does, in fairness, this role does kind of constrain you. You can't really do anything because you've got certain amount of weeks of filming, right? And then after that, then it's full on promotion. You don't have much time then to do anything else.
He knew that going in. That's my thing about this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Charlotte. Of course, he would have known going in, so I don't know why, if he was, and I'm just saying, speculating here, if he was throwing his toys out of the pram now, well, you have no right to do so. When you took this role on, you had a big responsibility, and as far as I'm concerned, you have failed at that.
Well, I find it remarkable. Sorry for cutting across, but I find it remarkable. Stop doing that, whatever you do. I find it remarkable that Davis and Jack could probably do this voice about society and tastes have moved on. Go on, Jack.
Jack? Time, society, cultures, taste has moved on, and there's a problem with the Davros of old, in the sense that he is a wheelchair user who is evil.
And if society and taste has moved on,
just puts me on the spot like that.
Well, it's worth it. It just goes to show that what's moved on, this progressive nature that they keep banging on about, is degenerative. This kind of behavior is acceptable, yet Davros being quote unquote in a wheelchair is not.
It's a life support unit, morons. It's a life support unit. It's not a wheelchair. And if you've seen him in a wheelchair, then that's on you. And that's the point. RTD and all these other people that were giving about the wheelchair. Yeah, you've all seen him in a wheelchair. So yous were the ones that were discriminating against. Yous were the ones that were saying anybody that was in a wheelchair was evil. We weren't saying that. To us, Davros is one of the greatest villains of all fucking time. Yeah. And he did anything and everything to stay alive, so much so he built that unit to keep himself alive, right? It's not a wheelchair, and the fact that there are people out there, it's a wheelchair, and I'm glad RTD has done it.
Well, perhaps I'd like to point us to the wheels that are on display, like a wheelchair. I don't think you can see them. I think that's an implication, but anyway, what I'm saying is that seems very highly hypocritical to me, that they want to be the moral arbiters of what is and isn't right to be shown in public. Yet here they are flaunting their lead actor, quote unquote, parading around semi-naked with a semi. I just don't think, and to say this is the queerest era of Doctor Who, and this is a good thing, it's like, well, you're doing more harm to gay people overall than at any other time prior to this, frankly. You're presenting homosexuality or queerness, whatever he self-describes himself as, whatever he identifies. It's actually not doing us any favors whatsoever.
You are dead on there, because I actually contacted, after the episode Rogue, I was livid. I was absolutely so livid that they would make him into literally a leering homosexual.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was livid. And so I contacted a friend of mine who's gay, and I said, because they were also watching it, and I actually literally, I had to ask him. I said, you know, am I a homophobe because I didn't like this episode and the way that he was portraying the Doctor? Because it just put doubt in my mind that, you know, suddenly I was like, you know, very anti, like not
the fact
totally
that it made you feel like that. But hold on, Matt. The fact that it made you feel like that is exactly what RTD wants you to feel like.
Yeah, but this is how it manipulates.
That's what I mean,
regular, ordinary people, you know, just people who are very tolerant generally, who don't care about whether people are gay or not, whatever. It's never entered into their mind, fine. But this is so divisive. It's actively creating doubt in people's minds on the acceptability of this new agenda. And you know, for years they denied it even existed, and then they flaunt it and then call you mad for calling it out. And as a gay man myself, I do not subscribe to this identity culture or this qua whatever, this homophobic slur bullshit that's being told to the viewing. This is the new normal now. No, I've never, you know, growing up, I've always thought of myself as being part of a counterculture. You know, it was something that was in the nightclubs, in your own private rooms, whatever. And who you sleep with is no bearing on. But the Doctor is a fundamental character, is an archetypal character that's been around for decades, that is an iconic British icon. And you don't just suddenly, now the Doctor's gay or queer or whatever.
Well, that was the thing that upset me, was the fact that so many people, as soon as Ncuti Gatwa was announced, they were calling him the gay Doctor, and I found that very, very apprehensible. I was like, stop calling him the gay Doctor. He is gay in real life. Stop calling him the gay Doctor. We haven't seen the Doctor yet, and I doubt very much they'll go down the path. Well, I was wrong.
Up until then, we didn't know, Matt, did we? Because RTD didn't confirm whether the Doctor was going to be gay or not. But the fans automatically, those younger fans automatically thought, because he had to hire the gay actor, that automatically the Doctor was going to become gay.
I just want to point out that there is one person on this panel who called this out straight away and was right, and that's Jack.
Yeah, and he got grief for off RTD. Jack, I want to ask you that. Actually, ask you a question now. How does it feel to be validated? And do you have now, looking at what's happened and transpired, do you have any regrets now for calling RTD out? Because I know you did at the time, but now reflecting on it, would you stand by? Do you stand by your comments towards RTD? And do you still regret it? Because I wouldn't. Right now, I'd be sitting there if it was me, Jack. Honestly, I'd be sitting there all smug with a big smile on my face. I know it's heartbreaking to see the show, but you were right, and Lee is absolutely spot on. You called this out straight away, and we saw how RTD responded. What would you like to say on that?
Well, I've got a few things to say, and I'm sorry if this might just take a few minutes, but
Doesn't matter.
first
Go
of
ahead.
all, I'm not I'm not happy to have been right because my favorite show is dead. You know, I'm not sitting here going, "Ha, I called it, I said it, Doctor Who's doomed." I'm actually very upset. And this whole experience has not just kind of made me go, "Oh, well, at least I've got the old stuff." It has actually killed my love for it dead. And that's the show I grew up with. You know, I'm very jealous of those of you who grew up with Classic Who, because at least you can kind of seal that in your own little bubble. I can't. And in terms of how I feel about my confrontation with RTD, I'm so glad that I called him out. But ultimately, you know, I don't think it brought me, you know, the spotlight or made me popular. You know, I know lots of people know of it, but you know, it didn't. I didn't gain anything. It was just me just wanting to call this man out, not because I hated him, but because I was like, you know, I thought you were better than this. You know, it wasn't an opportunity where I thought, oh, here I can steal the spotlight and get noticed. This was me just having enough and just being like, you know, you're not the person I thought you were. And just seeing his behavior since then has really confirmed that to me. And it kind of, I also want to say that it's really a shame that as soon as I saw Ncuti Gatwa, as soon as I heard him speak, my instant thought was, this show is dead. And that really upsets me, you know, that this is what, you know, these people have done, that they've created such a, you know, they've spent so many years shoving all this in our faces that we see a person of color like, oh, it's going to be woke, you know. But
and they do that deliberately. You know,
Yeah,
they create this narrative, and anyone who criticizes their terrible decisions is automatically called a racist or a homophobe or whatever, and it's not about that.
But I knew straight away as soon as I saw him, and as soon as I heard his irritating voice. And I'm sorry, because I'm holding
In fairness,
back
you
now.
did call that out as well. You actually were one of the first ones, along with Lee, to call out Ncuti's ability to take this role on. So I have to give you both credit there again as well.
But I understand why I got pushback, and I understand why there were big players in these communities that wanted nothing to do with me after that. And, you know, I think I've kind of faded off the radar in recent years, which I'm fine with because I've been dealing with my own stuff. But it is a shame that, you know, I wish I could get back into it. But the truth is, I've got nothing more to say. I knew where this was going. And I'm just like, you know, RTD has one chance. He has to get this right. He has to, otherwise it's over. And he got it wrong. He brought on someone who I look at, and I'm not going to lie, I burst out laughing. And I'm sorry if that's a hateful thing to say, but he is a joke. He is an absolute joke. And, you know, you look at people, like all the actors who had played the Doctor previously were memorable. And I'm not saying that I'm against the idea of a Doctor being a person of color or however you want to say it, because, you know, Idris Elba would have been a great choice for me.
Condescending. It's black person, right? I don't know why people get. I'm not talking about you, but in society, you know, we have to be politically correct and say person of color. It's not person of color. It's a black person. All right. That's it. End of story. Anybody offended by that, by the way, all you little wokies listening in, I don't give a shit. Right? That's what they are. Right? They're black. We're white. Right? Nothing wrong with that. Okay? Why are you going to start calling us persons of a person of white or something? Some shit like that? Stupid shit like that? Like, doesn't make sense. They're black people. But go ahead. Sorry, Jack. I have to get that out.
It's fine.
That annoys me, that does. Person of color. Get the fuck.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, it used to be considered racist to say coloured person.
Yeah.
So you would just reverse the order of the words and it's suddenly okay. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Go on, Jack.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest with you, and I just didn't see the point in raveting on about something that is clearly finished. You know, so that's why I left. You know, I know some people have asked after me, but the show is done for me, and I'm just trying to keep it alive in small ways, like, you know, collect some of the older toys. But this man RTD has really just taken my whole childhood. Because look, for those of us, and I'm not trying to lecture, but for those of us who are autistic, which I found out I am, we get obsessed with things, you know, we have a big obsession, and then we struggle to move on to other things. Well, Doctor Who was that big obsession, and now that has just been completely destroyed, you know. So I kind of find myself in a place now where I'm just like, oh God, what to get into, you know, what to love. And it's difficult because they keep destroying everything. You know, there's not much else to get into. But before I rabbit on all night, just to answer your question, I don't regret what I said. I'm glad I said it, quite honestly. But to have people then, you know, come into my Instagram and sending me dick photos and all kinds of disgusting crap just for speaking my opinion, to have someone death threat me, you know, and run on a complete little rant, you know, because I dared speak against the master god, the god of all television, you know, Russell T Davies, and then to have several big people in these communities, and I don't mean you, Noel, but several big people then just, you know, well, just not want me around, then fine, you know, because I knew where this was going.
But they are moral superiors. You know, sending dick pics is morally superior, apparently. You know,
they're just losers. But look, I was very lucky, actually. I dodged a bullet there. But you know, I just feel like this program is dead. I said everything I need to see. Am I surprised by Ncuti's behaviour? No, because I saw it in him the moment I saw the irritating little shit. I'm sorry. I saw it in him, and I've had so many people like, well, you know, I can see the Doctor in him. Are you on drugs? You know, or have you ever seen an episode of classic Doctor Who?
Yeah, there is absolutely no continuity there whatsoever. This is a continuity from Jodie Whittaker, but she was never the Doctor either. So
no, but I have to, as I said at the
I'm sorry,
beginning.
he's better than Jodie.
I disagree.
He's better than Jodie.
I disagree.
No, I'm sorry.
I have to, you know what? I can't believe I'm saying this. I've said it a couple of times now. I even said it on X. I would rather, I'm not saying he's better than, or she's better than him, but I would rather watch a Jodie Whittaker episode of Doctor Who than watch anything that RTD has done now. I haven't even watched the Christmas special. I still haven't watched the Christmas special yet. I haven't been able to bring myself to watch it yet. Now I'm doing it this week. I'm going to do a watch along, so you will hear me live reaction.
I would watch Praxius or Orphan 55 over any on a loop rather than watch anything from the Gatwa era.
Yeah,
the
but
thing is,
here's what
sorry,
I'll say.
go on, Charlotte.
I think he's better acting wise in the role than Jodie, but I feel like the writing is actually, they've done more harm and sabotaged his Doctor than they did with Jodie, because with his Doctor, it feels like every opportunity they either have him not be the hero, fail miserably, be a
cry,
and like, or somebody else saves the day. Like, I'm fed up of the back teeth of basically this Doctor just standing there and doing nothing. Like, that's how I would carry it.
Well, that's Modern Who in a nutshell, isn't it? That's Jodie Whittaker and it's like, let's get everyone killed and or do nothing.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and I know, do you care about spoilers, Noel? It's a Christmas special thing.
No, to be quite honest with you, you know, as I said, I haven't been able to. I don't really give a fuck if you spoil the Christmas special, because I still watch it.
Because once again,
it's spoiled already.
I know, but once again, we are having the lonely Doctor, the Doctor that misses his friends, and it's like, I'm fed up with the back teeth of this. Can he just not be moping about? That's what every other modern Doctor has done.
Every Christmas special, but it seems to be over the years, every Christmas special, a Doctor has been moping about that story's been done already. Yes. Like, one time is good. When they did it with Matt Smith, do you remember when they did it with Matt Smith when he was up the TARDIS and Clara climbs up that was perfectly done. That was that then finished with. You don't keep.
Yeah, can we get over the lonely god trope now?
Yeah,
it's
there's literally a scene where he's screaming and this is where I agree, some scenes he is absolutely terrible his acting. Like, I'm like, what on earth are you playing at? there's a scene in the special where he's like banging on a door, and it's meant to be this sort of painful outburst of, this is why everybody leaves you. And it just sounds like a toddler having a tantrum. That's the best description I could give for Ncuti's
Well,
acting.
that's it. He's not acting. That's him playing himself. And I know that Tom Baker and John Pertwee were told to be themselves, just like hyper science fiction versions of themselves. But they had the gravitas and the personality and the kind of eccentricity about them to pull it off. He doesn't.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing.
At all.
I happily agree this now. I feel like I've seen a good chunk of him acting. He has not got authority in the slightest in this role, and that is a major problem with his acting.
And the writing.
Yeah, for me, Ncuti works best acting wise when he's allowed to be a little bit more sort of angry, a little bit more sort of tense. That's clearly his better acting. When he's not doing that, he is just going over the top, flouncing about, trying to be authoritative, trying to be that commanding voice, and he just hasn't got it, to put it bluntly. He just hasn't got it, and he's not going to suddenly get it in his second series. He's had a whole series.
He doesn't get the role. He doesn't get the role.
No,
Jodie White didn't get the role. It's just not. It's just not coming across in any. I mean, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful to the gods of the universe that, and that doesn't include Jinx Monsoon. You that I've not actually seen a single bloody episode, and I'm never going to, because I value this character too much to see him disabused, thrown away, discarded, replaced by whatever the hell this is.
Well, it's been vandalized.
It is.
It's been totally and utterly vandalized with a spray paint can. It's just it's just they've really ruined the character. And to me, for the last I unfortunately watched this season. I didn't watch any of the Whittaker years, but because I really wanted to get back into Doctor Who. I've missed it. And I'd been there was this huge year gap, like 5-6 year gap, where I hadn't seen any because I'd just heard how terrible it was, and it wasn't for me, and that was fine. But I really wanted to get back into it. I gave it a chance, and boy, did it disappoint.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
That brings me on to the next point, right? We got to have this conversation. So, with that said, and we got series 2 of the RTD era coming this year. Does Doctor Who go past its second series? And obviously, this is a big topic of debate in the fandom right now. People claiming the show is being cancelled. People claiming that the show is being renewed, but we haven't heard anything official yet. If you are looking at this, if you are Disney and you are BBC now, and you are looking at this, if you are BBC in particular, would you be like thinking, let's pull the plug and let's try do it ourselves again? Or
let's be clear here,
right? Go on.
Disney are out.
Oh,
no two ways about it. No,
they're very close.
Not even very close. They are done. They are. Let's just say I've been privy to certain things, but I will say only that they are not at all happy with season 1 of this era. They are not happy. They are out of their mind with annoying what they've received. This is not good, right? Whether it goes on for a third series, it will not be with Disney. Take it to the bank. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you can call me out. I don't care. If it does go on, it's not for anyone's benefit. Trust me. This is done. Disney are out. There's no two ways about it. It cannot sustain itself going forward with an endless pot of money. And Disney are already trying to turn the boat around when it comes to their own produce. But that's going to take years. And it still probably won't ever correct itself fully. Doctor Who is cooked, as they say these days. It's done. And I don't know if Disney have therefore dispensed with it. It's secondhand goods at this point. It's been a failure.
Yeah. It has been a failure.
There's no one to come in and pick up the pieces. That was meant to be RTD's job. He failed miserably. And the thing is, any other streaming service or any other, financial backer is going to look at what Disney pulling out. They're going to go, well, we don't want it because it's tainted goods. Tainted.
Disney is the biggest, isn't Disney? Disney is the biggest fucking entertainment.
And if they don't want to throw money at it anymore, who the hell else will?
It does look bad if Disney pull out your apps.
If we get a series 3, I think the only way we're getting it is if major changes happen behind the scenes. And I think the bare minimum is a new Doctor. I think that's your bare minimum sort of level. And then if series 2 tanks as much as I think it's going to, I think that will be then the key to get Russell out.
Russell is the main thing here. I have to be honest. If you don't get rid of Russell, but you just get rid of Ncuti Gatwa, well, then you're punishing Ncuti, even though he has his flaws, but you're punishing him when the real issue here and the problem is actually RTD. Just like it was with Chris Chibnall. He was the real issue. And then it was only after he left then that the fans that were defending him and bullied for him then admitted then, it wasn't quite as good as we thought it was.
So that's why I think Russell right now is on the ropes. I think this has significantly damaged his sort of
reputation.
His reputation. His sort of, like you said, before him coming back, he was seen as Mr. Golden Boy, couldn't do anything wrong, sort of genius screenwriter from the UK. That's all gone now because of series 1. It's completely tanked his reputation.
It's because he's had no one to rein him in.
And is that Disney's fault though? I want to ask you that. Is that Disney's fault though? Because they're the ones that put the money where their mouth was.
This is bad.
This is Bad Wolf.
This is a Bad Wolf decision. Jane Tranter, I think, was not happy with his casting. We know that Ncuti Gatwa was not the first person.
No, he wasn't, because he admitted that himself. He was the last one in the audition room.
That's not even that. No, there was someone else before him. And there was a whole shit going on behind the scenes that he ended up being. And as I said, the only reason you got it was because RTD wanted some of that. So that's what we got. He has not been reined in. The people at Bad Wolf who may have counted his more overt, nonsensical choices in the beginning, because he had to be in check because they were risking pretty much everything on bringing Doctor Who back in 2005. So he was a bit more cap in hand. Let's put it this way. Now he's the big I am, and no one dare say no to me, and all this nonsense. He's gotten away with way too much. He's had way too much power, unchecked power, and I don't know what he's got on other people, but it's amazing how he's been allowed to get away with what he's gotten away with.
But Lee, he literally boasted that it takes a pretty powerful producer to say no to him, didn't he?
Which, how many skeletons does he have then?
There lies the question. And I think Jane Tranter has been remarkably quiet. And I think that speaks volumes.
But there's something that you guys need to understand, and I'm talking to every Doctor Who fan here, right? Because you all go on your channels and you all go like, let's have some positivity. What's positive things? We get rid of Russell, we get rid of Gatwa. These people, right? These whatever you want to call them, the Fitzroy, they're a cabal of weirdos, right? These people have had Doctor Who since before I was born, and they are the people who have brought it back. They are the people who have been with it ever since it came back till this day. They are the people who are never going to let it go, because as far in their heads, it's theirs. They are the people who have made this show a camp, juvenile, stupid, and frankly ridiculous show where I am at a stage in my life where I can't believe I was ever a fan of. With Classic Who, it's a nice, little show that you can watch every now and then, get some good moments out of. But RTD and his crowd have done something to me where they've made me feel like I've had some kind of amnesia, where I'm like, wait, was I a fan of this show? I can't believe I ever liked this. It's crap. That's what they've done to me. They have broken. It's like they've shattered a mirror that my 5-year-old self, who adored when the Dalek came on screen with Eccleston, you know, and it's like they've shattered that. And I've come to realize that they are not gonna let this go, even if Disney pull out, sorry, I'll just finish this. But even when Disney shut it down and the BBC choose to shut it down, they'll probably still keep releasing Big Finish audios. They are not gonna let anyone else have a go. They have made it theirs. They want it to reflect them and their views only. They do not give a toss about any of you. So stop going on your channel. Stop looking for positive things. And for God's sake, just walk away, because that is the only way this is ever going to be over. You people are just as responsible for this nightmare going on as them.
I agree.
You are giving it attention. You are giving it attention, and I am so sick and tired of the hypocrisy with a lot of you. Is that, you know, you will 1 minute you'll be saying, oh, this is bad, that's bad. The next minute you'll be praising it to high hell. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Has the penny not dropped? And I'm sorry, this is the last time I'm going to say this. This is why no one will bring me on the channel, because this is what I'll tell them the bloody truth. When I made my YouTube channel, I saw that this franchise was screwed, so I decided to make my channel non-Doctor Who centric. Yes, I review some figures here and there. Yes, I talk about it here and there. This is dead. They have killed it. No new fans are going to come in. My generation, the generation that I don't know how much longer we're going to last, but my generation will not bring it back, because we'll remember it as that thing that, it was good when we were kids, but then went utterly shit. And that is how it will be remembered, unless for the few like myself who were fortunate enough to experience that wonderful little quirky sci-fi show between 1963 and 1989. That is Doctor Who. What these ridiculous, frankly, disgusting people have made is an absolute joke. A joke that is never going to stop until all of you let it go. Thank you very much, everyone.
No, that's a very fierce... I totally understand that. And I've seen the anger there. Go on, Matt.
No, I just wanted to say, look, Doctor Who was always a custodianship. Every producer was a custodian of this series. Now it's an ownership,
exactly.
And it's just, you know, it's been totally ruined beyond repair. You cannot bring it back. It just can't come back in any form now, because when it comes back in another, if it goes off air and it comes back in another 5-10 years, they'll be saying, when are you going to start putting the gay back into it, or when are you going to start putting, you know, when are you going to bring Ncuti Gatwa back, you know?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's forever tainted,
because the type of people that are watching this show, they aren't sci-fi fans. They're weirdos. I'm sorry. They're just weird. I've seen clips of them. You know, I'm the type of sci-fi fan. I love Alien. I love Terminator. I love Predator. You know, the real kind of cool sci-fi stuff. I can't even associate that with things like Doctor Who anymore, because Doctor Who is so silly, camp, cheesy, and outright stupid. It's not even in a comprehensible level to things like that. I cannot enjoy it anymore.
Yeah,
you know,
no
it's
intelligence behind the writing. It's been
No.
dumbed down.
It's dumbed down to fuck.
It's just absolutely. I do agree.
Hey, remember, Starry-Eyed Girl went on Dan's channel and said, like, she was watching it with her kids, and the kids said, "Oh, do you?" She asked him, "Do you like this Doctor?" And he said, "No, it's too gay." I thought that, and it's so true. You know, kids are not going to be. It's going to. Oh, that's too gay, and it is. It just is. And isn't it interesting? I think the corruption. I think the corruption is setting so thick within Bad Wolf from BBC Studio and the Welsh government.
And
I just want to make this point here very quickly.
Sorry,
Bad Wolf. Right, I looked at the Company's House, Bad Wolf on Company's House, which is like all their filings for, you know, their business. They paid in the last, since 2015, they have paid tax 3 times, I think. No, 1 time, I think. They've filed 3 filings for their taxes. 3 in 15 years. In 10 years. Any other business filing three tax, what do you call it?
Filings, I think you're right the first time.
Yeah, filings. Okay, for your accounts. Okay.
Yeah.
If any other business filed 3 accounts for a 10-year period, you wouldn't be in business. And the fact that their first filing of their finances, they showed that they were awarded tax credits towards their their finances from the Welsh government. But ever since then, it just doesn't say anything about tax credits. It just says tax 0. They paid 0 tax. And I find that remarkable, that this company that brings so much money to the Welsh economy, blah, 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 pays 0 tax. Not even tax credits, not even on there as tax credits. It's 0 tax. And they're making profit upon profit upon profit. And I just find that so corrupt, quite honestly. And yet, I'm sure they do bring money into Cardiff. I have no doubt.
Well, they do, because all of the simps that have been spinning Doctor Who, how successful it is, because they put out a detailed report from actually the Welsh government, as you were saying, and Doctor Who brings in a certain amount over the last. What they failed to actually, kind of specify, though, is what the time period is, and they've included Doctor Who from the 1960s all the way up to today, and apparently it's generated something like over 100 million or something over those
Mostly
years.
classic.
Something to that effect.
I will say though, if you, Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf, are going to destroy your golden goose by making it as woke as humanly possible and unwatchable garbage, what happens when Doctor Who gets cancelled? What about the Welsh Cardiff economy then? You are going to destroy people's livelihoods in this process because of your hubris. And what will the Welsh government do then? Pick up the tab so the taxpayers are paying for some failed company that has ruined and destroyed their own IP, which isn't their own, it's the BBC's, but they've hijacked it. And as Jack says, they are not going to let it go. Only the Wilderness Years Part 2, 2.0, will show us where that's going.
And in terms of that, the fans, we as fans, we love this show. We could probably come up with ideas that are 10 times better than the crap they produce. But we never will be able to, because we're not in with the crowd. We're not a part of the BBC's hierarchy. We'll never be allowed access to this show. They got in, unfortunately, because yes, they were fans, but they were the wrong type of fans, clearly. And I just think I disagree with fans shouldn't run Doctor Who. I disagree with that, because it's fans, like myself and others, who actually have, ideas that I think could work, but we'll never get to do it because we're just peasants. We're not in with the crowd, and that's why Doctor Who will be hated forever, because people will see that it's just run by a bunch of elitist upper class knobheads who are disconnected from reality and just want to shove all this bullshit down our throats. Congratulations, that's what Doctor Who as a brand is known for. And let's not forget the most insufferable, vile, nasty, and just general weird fans I have ever had the misfortune to bloody come across. And I'm not referring to the wonderful people in our community. You guys seem to be the bloody sanity end of it. I'm talking about the people that they love to put in front of the camera and go Doctor Who fans today.
The Crystal D's of this world.
I love that those fans, like, the Doctor just has to look at someone in a kind of a sexual, and they go crazy for it. If there's even a hint of a romance, they go crazy for it. That's what gets them going.
They're not getting any. But I will say as well, Russell T Davies says he's he's this wonderful socialist who thinks only people in this room have money because they're Tories. You got money. Does that make you a Tory? And then he makes a diatribe about people selling shoes instead of going to the crazy, like that's a bad thing. And then You look into his history, you know, oh, he was in the dole queue collecting money, blah blah blah. He was so hard done by. He was unemployed for a year, and even then he was doing theatre work behind the scenes or whatever. So he was unemployed for about a year in his entire career, and he thinks he comes from a very well-to-do family. I don't care how he presents himself. He is not a man of the people. He is not there for the benefit of queer people or whatever. Like JT on Whose Views said, you know, I never saw you on a march, never seen you once. So it's all bullshit. It's all PR, to borrow an absolute fabulism. But I would say, you know, this man is a complete canard. He's a fraud, frankly. And
I don't even think he's a real Doctor Who fan. I don't see.
Makes you wonder. Yeah.
I'm starting to question that. I agree with you, Jack. I said a while ago as well. There's something weird about no Doctor Who fan writes that way.
You got to understand, I came in with his original era. You know, I came to know Classic Who when I was older. But when you do a comparison between them, I just can't see how a fan would want to change so much from the word go. They're completely different shows.
Especially as it feels like really this era is going after classic. It really feels like every bit they can. Whether you talked about Davros, we've had Sutek now being completely rewritten with stupid lines about cultural appropriation, which is a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
We've now had. We can't have the Black Guardian, can we, Matt? Because that's apparently
Guardian of Chaos.
I thought the whole point of wokeism is we're supposed to come together and love each other. But no, we can't indulge in other cultures.
This is the thing. Doctor Who used to be for everybody. Now it's for a certain demographic.
Yeah, and the ratings reflect that certain demographic.
Exactly.
As it goes down and down, and all the hardcore fans are fucked off now.
Yeah,
But Davros Gate, you know, that was more than enough for me. I only watched a certain amount of Jodie Whittaker's run is because you bastards voted me to watch Flux that I watched it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered. But here we are. You know, you wanted it, you got it, and this is your reward. People have run away in droves.
The thing is, people used to get something out of Doctor Who. Everything was different. Like, people would get something different out of Doctor Who every time they watched it, you know, and now it's just... you don't get anything worthwhile out of it. It's just made for it's just not made for you anymore. It's made for this.
I tell you though, it's been a boon for me because when I want to go and collect Doctor Who merchandise, I can go on eBay. There's shit tons of it now because people are selling it off. They get rid of it.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Actually, I was really surprised by. I mean, all the classic ones, all the original classics in their boxes and everything, are worth a fortune. But the new stuff, it's all collected dust.
Yep.
And I hate to say it, but look, for those of you, because I know, Noel, you're probably going to get people probably commenting saying I'm a fake fan. Well, I've even had thoughts of selling some of this. Fake fan, apparently.
Yeah. Oh well, that's what happened with Gary from Nerdrotics as well. They called him a fake fan, Doctor Who fan, and then he just showed him his entire collection. He's like, "Yep, fake fan."
No, but it took me years to build that. You know, it was my dream to have because those of you know I've just moved out of my parents' house last year. It was my dream to be able to display all of my Doctor Who stuff on this big wall shelf like that. I've had to pack half of it away because I just don't have the room because there is stuff that I'm enjoying more that I'm moving in its place. Like that's what's happened to this franchise. I don't really want to be referred to as a Whovian. I don't want to be referred to as a fan of the
It's quite embarrassing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just really embarrassing. I've had the same thing because I got these the big chief figures, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get every single Doctor Who that comes out. You know, this is before Jodie Whittaker was announced, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, it's because they wanted the Jodie Whittaker figure to come out, and they pressured like a few hundred people. Didn't sell them all, And now the company's gone bust.
Yeah, they went bust. They literally went bust. I think there was even like a lottery or something where they had to get a certain amount of orders before they'd actually make them, and so all the
practice.
Plebs,
yeah. I recently got a Big Chief Tom Baker, Fourth Doctor. It came with a scarf that had been knitted as well, so it was an extra thing, and I got it for a fraction of the price they're normally going for on eBay, and that was on eBay. And I was like, "Wow!" I leapt on that.
And that's the thing. But now I want to pack them away. I don't like looking at them because it just makes me sad, though, Lee. Because it's like it's. I just feel sad every time I think about Doctor Who. Now I'm like, what the hell did they do to it?
Well, you know what? I managed to look at that, lovely. I managed to siphon off New Who completely for me, and I just stick with the classics. I've got some New Who stuff. I would quite happily sell it to get rid of it, quite honestly. But who's going to buy it?
Well, I'm just really torn because I couldn't bring myself to sell it because the childhood memories I have of playing with those New Who figures at the top of the stairs. I'd always have all the monsters teaming up against the Daleks, and the Daleks would always win because they'd always win. But it's just I couldn't bring myself to sell them, so instead I've just had to put them in a box and just hope that a day will come in the future where maybe I can just forgive RTD. I can just go, look, he turned into an arsehole, but maybe I can find some nostalgia. But at the moment, I just feel like a piece of me, and I know there's going to be those, it's just a TV show. Well, get lost, because you were never a fan.
Exactly. Well said. If you don't get it by now, if you don't get it at our generation and generation of Jack's age, if you don't get the love that we have for this show and what it means to us, then you're not a Doctor Who fan. You never were a Doctor Who fan. This is the thing. This is personal to us all. This is why Jack is so upset. This is why I've been upset over the years and literally had a breakdown on this stream over the fucking show. It means a lot to us. You don't. Everything you say, Doctor Who, means a lot to you, but it's superficial. What means a lot to you is whether there's a gay agenda or a queer agenda in the show, or
it represents them
like that. That's what gets you ticking. What gets us ticking is actually intelligent writing and that sense of adventure. And, Doctor Who has established itself over the decades, and we know what the Doctor stands for. These modern Doctors, well, not all of them, do not have what the classic Doctor has. It doesn't have that charm. Look at that. Why? The fact that Jack, Lee, and even myself, I've even considered, but Lee is right. Like, think about it. New Who before RTD came along. Yeah, okay, Chris Chibnall had tainted it somewhat, right? He is still
somewhat, yeah.
Right? Okay, but it never really, to some of us, it never really tainted the first two eras, the first RTD era and the Moffat era. We still are willing to watch. But I agree with Jack. I can't even watch New Who now. I'm watching Classic Who if I'm watching Doctor Who now. I can't watch New Who now. So, Jack is right. I mean, it's devalued New Who. It's devalued the good bits of New Who now. It's all tainted. And now, as Charlotte said, and it's sickening me now, is he seems to be doing more damage to Classic Who, and I don't fucking like it. And the fact that the colorization of the war games just proved that they're out of touch with the fans. They're out of touch with the fans. That was an absolute disgrace what you've done to that story, by the way. And I don't get this obsession with colorizing black and white episodes anyway. I've never got it. I've said it here as well when they did the animations. I don't get why they do color versions of them, but the fact that they're an option, I'm not going to complain about that. But personally, if they're black and white episodes, they should remain black and white episodes. But here's my whole point, right? They said that they did the war games like that because they wanted a modern audience to appreciate it. This was not made for a modern audience. And stop trying to make Classic Who for a modern audience, because the modern audience today are, quite frankly, a bunch of fucking retards, right? They're stupid. They cannot handle fucking intelligent writing, right? They need everything explained to them on the screen, or a character to explain what's happening in the plot, right? That's not what Doctor Who is about. Doctor Who is Doctor Who relied on its writing because everything else around it was cheap, right? The sets, all of that. So the writing had to be perfect, right? And now it's the reverse now. Because we got the money now, the writing, have you noticed since we got the money, actually, the standards of writing have dropped?
Yeah, it's all about spectacle. And can you stop that with the mic? No, I'm going to slap you.
Oh, sorry.
It's all spectacle. It's all CGI. It's all, look at how much money we've got. Blah blah blah. But it as you say, they've replaced actually having to put effort into the substance and put it all into the style. Not that it's got that either, quite frankly. And then they go, and what they do is they try to insert themselves into classic stories like the Daleks and the War Games.
There's just something I need to put across, because, and I'm not saying this is you, Noel, I'm not saying this is anyone, but by those grifting bloody lot that we all know, the big YouTubers in this anti-woke crowd, they always love to shit all over my generation. But have you ever stopped to consider that most of us have walked away from Doctor Who as well? I mean, if most of us have stayed, shouldn't the ratings be really high? And, we were RTD's original audience. I came in with RTD's show.
Same here.
I went back, and Charlotte, I went back and fell in love with Classic Who. And I hate this just as much as anyone. And another thing, how old is Russell T Davies? He's a boomer.
Yeah.
So before you point the finger and keep calling us freaks and retards and all those other horrible words, just keep in mind, how did we get like this? What was the generation that messed us up? And I'm sorry, I am going to say this because I'm getting sick and tired of it. And I know a lot of people don't do it with intention, but just, these modern fans, these young idiots, these retards. It's like, lots of us have stopped watching as well. I've spoken to a lad where I was in B&M and I was buying some of the Classic Who Emperor Davros, and he said, I haven't watched Doctor Who since Capaldi. Went rubbish after that. He was 16.
I tend to find that generations get on when they skip a generation, so boomers, millennials are like the fucking worst usually. All right, this is a generalization, but Gen X and Gen Z seem to have much more in common. Who, the boomers kind of planted the seed. They fucked up Gen X, and they planted the seed for the millennials, right? They raised the millennials come along with the boomer mentality. This, we've got everything, we own everything, it all belongs to us. It's all free. We had the free stuff. Now we're going to drop the drawbridge behind us and screw up the next generation. That's what the boomers did, and millennials doing pretty much the same repetition. Gen X were screwed over by boomers, but we seem to get on more with the Gen Zs who are not down with this. And I think a lot of Gen Z get all the blame for a lot of this, but in fact, really, it's the millennial generation, the boomers, who really, really screwed up this society we live in, and are trying to make do with what we've got and trying to call it out. We're more critically minded, I think. We tend to question things a lot more than the other two generations. In general, it's a sweeping generalization. Most of it's bullshit, but it's a pattern that you cannot unsee once you see it.
All I'm saying is, even though people say, "Oh, Jack, not you," we don't mean you. It's like, yeah, but you're still referring to my generation. I mean, how would you feel if I was like, "Oh, well, you Garrity old gits"? You wouldn't like it, would you? So imagine how my generation feels when we constantly have the finger pointed at us.
I think Russell at the moment is trying to still stay relevant, and this is with a lot of I wouldn't say elderly Doctor Who fans, but like Jack said, they're boomers, but they are trying to stay relevant and hip and happening. And it's embarrassing. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but the thing is that they think they are, but then we're not interested in what they're trying to. They say they're trying to stay relevant. Well, you clearly haven't been paying much attention to us, because I think we just want good television.
Same as anyone else.
I think the problem is that Doctor Who's got in this year and the years, if it carries on, is the industry now is clearly starting to see you can't keep doing this. You can't keep putting money in failing programs and movies, and you can't just do a movie because you want to cater to a tiny % of your population. Like, the industry has realised that now, and they are starting, but it's baby steps for some of them, and it's a bit more further along the process for others, of let's get back to the sensible middle of just pure entertainment again.
The problem is it's gone on for too long.
Right. Yeah, and that's the problem, that Doctor Who, if it carries on like this, it's going to be the outlier again, because everything else would have started to do the shift, started to make the changes, and Doctor Who will once again, like it has been for the last 7 years, sort of be behind the times, because it's going to be stuck in this rut.
Well, the whole industry, you can see,
ceased to innovate. It ceased to innovate. It now has become a product of its time in the sense that it follows trends rather than sets them. You know, I mean, you could argue that, you know, 70s Doctor Who was copying James Bond and, you know, the action things that were quite big at the time and all the rest. I can see that. I can understand that. But it did it in its own unique way, and it was always pushing the envelope and creating.
and it worked.
And I think
That's the important thing. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
They've
Go ahead,
made
Matt.
it into a soap opera now,
Yeah.
and I think also the fact that it's, you know, they spread out this story through the entire series. I just want a good episode that has nothing to do with what's going to happen later down the line or anything like that. I just want a single story. Look at like something like Blink, you know, that was great, but it was not common. You know?
How many arcs have we had where it's been, oh, there's this companion or the girl who's the key to everything, or there's something that's going to happen, and there's beware of the thing and the thing, you know, and this whole thing with this new one with the Dobson, it's just another one. You know,
I know. Yeah, that's annoying me, Mrs.
and
Flood, isn't it?
every season, the end of the universe. You know, knock it off.
We've done it how many times?
You can tell already she's not going to be as very dangerous, because you could already see that, you know, that in the last episode she was, you know, she disappeared with the rest of them. So, you know, it's not like she's an omnipotent, you know, character to be worried about next season.
How many more times does the universe have to end? Like, I mean, they've done it so many. See, again, he's going back to tropes that he knows, but what he's doing is obviously he's pushing his agenda even further. But we've seen there is Jack is right, okay. Jack has let it all off his chest, and fair play, and I love that, by the way, and I don't take offense to it. Oh, you have been harsh on younger fans as well, so you are right. Maybe, you know, it's not all that generation of fans, they've turned away as well, because you are right, because if you look at the ratings, it actually reflects us. So I don't know why we're still kind of having a bit of a hang up.
We are on,
I suppose it's because of the bigger YouTubers that are your generation, that have been abusive and have been doing what they've been doing the last few years. I suppose it does happen, and it's wrong that we kind of paint everybody with the same brush, and that's not fair. You're absolutely spot on.
They're in their now.
Go on.
Just bear that in mind, right? The people who are doing that for you, they're probably now in their 30s, and they're probably still behaving the same way.
No, they are. Yeah, we've seen it, because the block button has gone from X now, and I could say Mr. TARDIS reviews, like, is still at it. Like, that fella hasn't grown up. You think he would have grown up by now? Do you know what I mean? He's still acting the same fucking way. Like, you know, it's childish behavior at this stage. Look, we get it, right? No matter what these people do, you're gonna praise Doctor Who. You're in with the gang. We get it, right? But you're a grown ass man now. Stop attacking fans. Like, do you know what I mean? I mean, I've even stopped that shit. Like, what's the point?
Has he had his TARDIS tour yet?
Has he got? Well, I don't know what he's fucking
tour
doing.
of the TARDIS. you know, get an invite.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah. Imagine.
That's
That's
what
the
they
problem
want.
as well.
That's what they want. They want to be in this crowd where, you know, they can like have something to do with what they enjoyed. So,
Well,
you know,
that's
and
it.
stuff everybody else, you know.
It's this,
Well, here
it's,
the point.
it's this
Just
new
before-
elite. It's this new elitism that they've created around themselves. It's a cult of personality. Now, you had that recent event, wasn't it? Like a Doctor Who musical. It wasn't The Promising. It was something else, but it was all, you know, invite only. And you know who was invited and who wasn't. And it's all about access. Everything these days is all about access and VIP.
Yeah,
And
massage the
that's
ego of the showrunner, get rewarded, basically.
Yeah. It's antithetical. If you look at the old conventions from the 70s and 80s, particularly in the 80s, they were open to everyone. You would go and have breakfast with, you know, Nicholas Courtney or whatever, and people would just, you know, it wasn't this detachment or VIP only or pay for access.
Do you know what, Lee? I went to a convention recently. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a convention recently.
No.
But they had special zones for people of the LGBTQA+.
Oh, for God's sake.
And they also had friendly areas, okay, where you could go and meet new friends. And they would do, you know, like speed dating.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, they would have that for like friends, speed friending, they would call it. And there were these things, and I was just looking at it, and I was just like, "That is insane." You know, that is like
they've got safe spaces for these people now at convention. I mean, it's all fucking
get a grip.
ridiculous. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel. I just want to bring up something briefly before anybody else jumps in, and it's in relation to Star Trek, because as I said at the very beginning, Star Trek Discovery has been apparently erased from canon. So there is, as Lee has said and Charlotte said earlier, there does seem to be a change in the industry. In some companies, obviously, it's they're further ahead, as Charlotte said, and with other studios, it's baby steps. But there is light at the end of this tunnel if you look at what's happening in America and certain shows now being canned or being erased from canon. It does bode well for the future if the tide is starting to finally turn now. But the issue that we have, I think Matt brought it up, is the fact that this has been going on for what now? Nearly 10, 11 years or something, maybe. Yeah. We thought that this was just going to be a phase, like normal phases that would come and go. But this has actually stuck around and has done a lot of damage. Can Doctor Who ever get back to some sort of normality? I'm not saying back to its heyday, because I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
No.
But in the future, if it was to go away, if Jack is right, people have to start walking away now. I mean, it's either we got to have that serious question.
I'll tell you. Jack's right. It can't really recover. And the reason why it can't recover is because it needs to go away for a long time. Now, that means that people our age, Noel, will be, in our 60s, 70s, will be too old. And when it does come back, if it does come back, it's going to be fans of the New Who era who won't be as attached to the classic era, where the golden era is to me.
Yeah.
And I without that kind of... and obviously, by then, anyone involved in that original run will mostly be ancient or gone, completely. And so that entire connection is lost. That entire lineage is gone. And I just don't think by bringing back what is ostensibly an era of fanwankery and an era that is built on being not a carbon copy, but a sort of a knockoff, if you like. For me, it's a knockoff of a knockoff. So I just don't think that the passion is going to be there that it was from fans who supported it coming back in 2005, who were fans of the original series. I just don't think you're going to have that same lineage.
I mean, look, there's, like I say, there's ideas I have, there's things I want to do, and I'm not trying to be like a narcissist or anything and say like, oh, I'm the one for the job, but I've got no TV experience. It's all just dreams. You know, if we're talking actual realistically, I don't see it, you know, unless someone looks at Doctor Who and goes, yeah, that's got a cool concept. That could be a
Do you know what I think will be the way forward for Doctor Who? Fan stuff. We see now with the advent of AI that some people are doing some amazing things with Doctor Who's the classic era with AI. And I think that's where the future lies. I think creators like Jack, like you, Lee, you know, other people out there that have writing skills and have that sort of ability are going to be creating the Doctor Who stuff going forward for us, because I think we have all gotten to the stage now where it comes to the official Doctor Who, we're done. I think that's where everybody on the panel seems to stand. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Hit the nail on the head there. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in the stage right now that my expectations are incredibly low, that I don't expect it to really overly impress me now, and I just want to see what's going to happen to more Russell and Ncuti and the people behind the scenes. Are they going to get marched out? Are they going to actually have done so bad that they're going to suffer some consequences here? Because I think, and because I do need to go.
Yeah,
I'll
you
finish,
go, Charles.
because I do need to go in like 5 minutes for food soon.
Yep, go.
I think the core idea of an alien with a TARDIS which can travel in space and time, that picks a human, or it could be non-human, but basically picks a companion to explore the world with, that's a timeless concept. That's a timeless idea. That's something that will always, when the right person discovers it, whether they're a fan or not, and their skill, and they've got the skill to do it, and they're a good damn writer, and I think in 5 years, I know that's a bloody long time away, but I think in 5 years the industry is going to be very different to what it is now. I think what the writers have been getting away with the last God knows how long is not going to be acceptable in 5 years' time. You're not going to be given the money to mess up a franchise like they have been. I think if that time comes around and the right person gets hold of this IP, whether they're a fan or not, I think even if you don't have a passion, but you discover the idea of Doctor Who, and that's what excites you, I think that's just as good.
I think it would have to be a complete reboot. Yeah. Or you continue on from
Peter Capaldi.
No, I wouldn't even say that at this point. I would put the entire New Who era in its own dimension or its own universe, but I would go from Paul McGann.
Yeah, but I think Doctor Who has got, like I said, that core premise. If the right person comes along who isn't Russell, isn't part of his little clique, you get an actor which actually cares, because Ncuti just comes across like he doesn't care now. Back to sort of the beginning of the discussion. You get a damn good actor who can grab hold of this part, who can make people fall in love with the character again. Yeah, Doctor Who can come back.
Hugh Grant. I'm saying it now. I watched him in a movie recently. It's called, what was it called? It was called it's a horror movie.
Heretic? He was in that.
Yeah, I watched it, right? Fucking he's acting in that. Oh my god, he is unbelievable.
See, I think you could have either end. I think you could get a really class act like Hugh Grant, or you can get a Matt Smith again, who's this sort of youngster.
No, I think you need to go big. I think you need to go big this time. I actually think you need to get someone with a bit of star quality, because if you look at what the previous two Doctors, right, this one and Jodie, they haven't been proper fucking stars. So I think you need to go for someone big. I do. I think you need to go for someone that everybody knows now for this, like they did with Peter Capaldi. I think you need someone of that caliber
to move this role forward. And that's even without, as Jack said, you've got all of that other shit going on. Do you believe they'll really let this show go? Because to be quite honest with you, they've had BBC have had plenty of opportunity to do right by this show, and they haven't. Let's be honest.
Well, like I said, that's why I'm intrigued with the reaction and how series 2 is going to go down more, like everything around it, just to see
Hopefully like a lead balloon.
If that's disastrous enough, if it's that bad, is that actually going to get Russell out? That's what
I hope it does.
sort of in the.
I want it to be bad now. I'll be honest and truthful for once. I want it to be the worst thing that's ever been conceived, right? Because it's the only way you're getting rid of them. It's the only way that they are actually getting rid of them.
That's what I think, and that's that's why I do need to go, because it's going to be my tea.
Right, do your shout outs before you leave, and thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate you coming on, Charlotte.
Yeah, like I said, but so you'll catch me. We're sort of on a mini break at Type 40 Live, but actually this week it should go out our review. Me, Dan, and some new guests of the Christmas special. So if you want to catch that, it's going to go out not sort of as a premiere, the actual thing we recorded last week, and then not soon afterwards we've got our big 200th sort of live stream show we're going to do. And then sort of after that, you'll see us back properly. We're sort of having a bit of a break at the moment as well on Type 40.
Yeah, lazy gets.
I know, it's terrible. We actually decided to break for once.
How dare you?
So, yeah, and you'll catch me here in the chat and now and again on the streams.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on, Charlie. Go on, get your food.
Yeah,
it's
I'll
tea
see you
time
guys
now.
later.
I haven't even had my dinner yet, so
Madge.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. I'm gonna have some chicken pasta or something. Fucking bleeding starving. But yeah, we'll wrap this up now in a minute anyway. But any final thoughts for any members of the panel there? What do you predict? I mean, I think the second series is going to be an absolute shit show, to be quite honest with you, and it has to be to get rid of RTD. But
it will be. It will be because it was filmed directly after the first one without.
Yeah, it was. It was
come out. I don't see any news about filming beginning on season 3.
No. Yeah, and of course, as I said, the person that claimed that the show was being renewed said that filming is actually starting this month. But when you actually go back and you look at previous filming schedules, then you could see what this person is basically doing. It's just guesswork based on previous filming block that happened when RTD returned. So as I said, wait for official announcement. And by the way, they're not going to start filming without actually letting the public know that the series has come back. So again, wait for your official confirmation on that. But use our final thoughts going forward, lads. So I'll start with Jack again. Nice to have you on, by the way, Jack, and thanks for doing the old RTD impressions. It really does actually put a smile on my face. But then after I leave, then I go straight into the bathroom and I actually puke up because he makes me want to puke. But go ahead.
Well, I don't think I've said anything else that I don't think needs to be said. Sorry for shouting. I haven't been on a stream in a while. That's all been building up.
Listen, I'm used to the shouting doing the other streams now. So if you want to shout and get shit off your chest, you can come on here anytime to unload. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be as strict as I was, when we used to do this, because I honestly don't give a shit anymore, to be quite honest with you. I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what they think of my opinions. I have my opinions and I have my beliefs, and you have your opinions and you have your beliefs, and nobody has the right to tell us that we can't have them. So fuck everybody else out there, Jack. Right? You fair play for what you said today. You got everything off your chest. You needed to say what you needed to say, and you know what? You actually made me proud there, man. Well done. I've never heard you so animated, and it was nice to fucking hear. More of that, Jack. More of that. But anyway, you've nothing else to say now, no?
Well, I don't think so. I think I've gotten everything off my chest that I need to get off. And quite frankly, I'm so glad that I've left these filthy, disgusting conservative fans in the dust. That's where they belong. It's absolutely unreal. And Series 2 is going ahead, and I'm telling you there's going to be a Series 3. If I have to sacrifice Jane Tranter, there will be a Series 3, I swear to God. I mean, a human sacrifice as well. It's going all in.
Some babies into volcanoes, I think.
If he did, because Jack says something there, and I know he's trying to be funny, but if RTD was trying to hang on to power, I wouldn't put past him getting rid of these people, though, that Jack just said, Jane. I don't think he would have I don't think he would think about it twice. If it meant him keeping his job, he would actually stab them in the back.
No, can you believe that they actually said no to me? All the years we've worked together, and they sat there and they said no. And I was like, my God, you two, you're gone. You don't realize how gone you are.
Well, they were right in fairness. You know, if Jane and others were concerned about the casting and all the stuff that we've heard today, then RTD really needs to take a long, hard look at himself, and he is fully responsible for this. And he is fully responsible for
Can you
the
imagine having to
downfall
sit there and
of
look
this
at
show.
him? Oh, God, it makes...
Matt, have you any final thoughts on Doctor Who before we wrap it up?
Well, I think I've already gone through the 5 stages of grief for the show, and pretty much I'm done with it. Like I said, I cancelled my Disney Plus subscription and everything in solidarity that the fact that I needed to tell them that I wasn't going to support this crap anymore, and so I can't wait for it just to end, and hopefully we'll look back and go what was good and what was bad about it, and rather than just thinking about bad stuff, because this isn't going to get any better. Series 2 isn't going to get over more than 2 million views, like it for the ratings. It's just not. There's no way it could recoup from what it's been.
Yeah.
I mean, Christmas Day was a complete and utter, just an expected anyway, because of the fact it was Christmas, it's a public holiday. But yeah, I think Doctor Who is it just needs to end.
Well, it's so bad this year that I normally do, because it's Christmas, I try and watch some of the Christmas specials, because I like the Christmas specials. I like some of them. Right? I couldn't even watch them. Do you know what I've been doing over the Christmas? And just last night, I'm on Series 2 of Deep Space Nine. I've decided, because remember I started watching it. Do you remember I was telling you I was watching it? But I totally gave up on it. I did again. But I've been binge watching it now since Christmas. And I'm on season 2 now, episode 18 now, and it's starting to get... Now, listen, I actually have to say, I know where people are going, that the first 2 seasons were kind of establishing the show, and there were a few, but it was still good, still top quality Trek. But it's starting now, they're starting to mention, and I know I mentioned it before, and people say, wait and you find out who they are, and I can't wait. But the Dominion now have been mentioned a couple of times now, and I've been watching it, and Cheryl will tell you, I'm sitting there till 5, 6 in the morning watching Deep Space Nine. So that's what I'm binge watching at the moment. Was he in here with me all this time? I didn't even see you there, puppy. What the fuck? I'm about to be... Oh, all right. Lee, any final thoughts before we get everybody to do their shout-outs, because we're starving here. I'm going to cook dinner.
Well, first thing, hello, Charlotte. Hello. Not Charlotte. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God. Remember when you used to slag me for getting Cheryl and Charlotte mixed up?
Charlotte, I was just listening to DS9 things and thinking what I've been binge watching, and then that happened. Hello, Cheryl. Hello, Teddy. Happy New Year. Final thought. Well, I just wrapped watching Dexter, which I never watched before, and that was fun. Squid Game 2nd series, really enjoyed that. It's getting a lot of hate, and I don't get why. But I thought it was really good.
Yeah, Cheryl's a fan. I don't know if she's actually seen the second season of Squid Game yet, but
It's very
she is
different.
a fan. So don't spoil it. Don't say that'll ruin it because she hasn't seen the second series. But she's like you. She loves the show. So
it's a good show. I also another Korean show called The 8 Show, which is quite interesting. It's on Netflix. Quite like that.
Right.
So yeah,
Where's
I mean, there's what's there to say about Doctor Who? It needs to go. It needs to go ASAP. They need to let this second series run its course, and it's inevitable that it's going to fail because if it's anything like the first one, it's not going anywhere. That's going to be the real seal. They sealed their fate because they didn't allow the first season to breathe before going into the second one. They didn't wait for any feedback. So obviously, whatever they've done for the second season is just going to be more of the same. And
that just goes to show you, though, Lee, if you look at it, that RTD's ego was so fucking big that he actually gave his own fourth series the seal of approval before fans did.
And I think pride comes before a fall there, Russell.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. But I
he
would
needs
say,
to eat some humble pie.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. You know,
no, never will with him. He's got too much
when it fails, it'll all be our fault. Remember that.
Yeah, it will. That's that. You're right. We'll get the blame for it, like we got the blame for the Chibnall downfall.
And it's funny, you know, all the people who criticize us for being emotionally attached to this show and showing emotion during its demise, the same people crying into their tofu sandals when they realize that the show's cancelled. I mean, even now they're beginning to come around to the realization that this actually could be it. Disney are out, I'm telling you.
Yes. Well, that'll be big. That'll be huge. I was told, and I did bring it up a couple of weeks when I did my last live stream on here, that Disney were very unhappy at what RTD produced, and they were definitely.
Well, anyone with a brain in their head that's still functioning and hasn't been bashed in by, you know, not wearing a helmet when they're sitting in their wrong. It's quite simple. You know, it's evident to anyone who can still function that this is a massive failure. It's awfully written by people who are clearly past it, probably never really truly had it, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And they've managed to get this going for 20 years through a wing and a prayer, and it's amazing to me. I mean, it shows you the level of corruption that's kept this thing going, quite honestly. Yeah. I think because there is a cultural shift now, there is definitely change in the air, and as typical of the BBC and all its particulars, they are the last to catch on. As I say, we'll get the blame. I don't care. I'll be sitting there laughing with the sangria, with my feet up, going, "Well, I told you so." And I don't take great pleasure in it. I don't take.
I don't think that. I used to always say that I'll celebrate the day that Doctor Who was cancelled because of what they've done to it. I can honestly say
the only thing I'll be celebrating is that it'll be their demise, not the show's demise, but this is on them. They had every opportunity to actually put some actual hard work in and actually produce some quality entertainment, but they chose the easy option to appease the crazy people in society, rather than actually. And I was watching a Tom Baker behind the scenes of Tom Baker and his early run, and he was talking about how the writers and the actors would talk about scenes, and you know, that one side would win and the other side would win. It's a matter of compromise, but it was always the intent to target the show towards intelligent young children.
People.
Yeah. The key word there was intelligent.
Yes.
Right? I'm saying you have to have a master's degree to understand Doctor Who, but it was always aimed at a higher thinking level because they didn't want to patronize their audience. And that's the thing. This is patronizing the audience beyond belief. This is Doctor Who catfishing. This is Doctor Who gaslighting. It's all of those things. It's not what it's not. It's a facsimile. Okay, it's a facsimile of nothing at all to its core of Doctor Who in there. And these people who claim to be mega fans, super fans, you know, RTD and all that, they aren't. They are not. They are grifters. They are the worst grifters. They've made a career. I mean, look at everything Russell T Davies has ever written. It's always been about queer. Everything. I mean, probably if you go back to his days in, you know, what was it that TV show he did, the kids show? I used to watch that. What was it?
Wizards and Aliens.
Why don't you? No, why don't you? That's probably queer. It's just his one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And he's gathered about all these people who just blow smoke up his ass just because they want a job.
Yes, that's it.
And it's just a cabal. And I can't wait to see them fail, quite honestly. They deserve it more than anything in this world.
Right, and we'll leave it on that one. Right, that we all want to see it fail. Lads, I definitely have to wrap up. Right, I know it's been a while. I'm just starving. I'm gonna end up being like one of these people in Africa, starving with the big belly. If you keep going, come on, will you?
Go on, Jack.
Sorry, just one last thing. I know it's great to see them fail. It's just a shame it had to be at the cost of my generation's childhood.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't take pleasure in. Make that clear. You know.
No, I know. We know what you mean. We know what you mean.
It's something I grew up with from the age of 4 years old in 1979, watching Destiny of the Daleks. I never thought for a second we'd end up here.
Yeah.
I used to be so excited when they'd say, "Oh, we're going to be rebooting this." Be like, "Awesome!" Now I dread it. I dread it every time that they go, "Oh, Buck Rogers is coming back."
Yeah.
Oh, Flash Gordon is coming back, and you're like,
"Before classic story ever watched was Pyramids of Mars," and it's still my favorite story personally. You know, you have your favorites, but we all know what the greatest or what our top 5 stories is. But my personal favorite has always been that, because that was the first time I was introduced to Doctor Who. Obviously, Peter Davison. The time I was around, Peter Davison was my doctor, but obviously I'd gotten to see Tom Baker's Doctor, and Pyramids of Mars was that story, and I never forget it, man. Those memories. Listen, the one thing I can say is they'll never take those memories from us anyway. So we'll leave it there. Can you all do our channel shout outs, and we'll wrap it up, because I'm getting the eyes here, the evil eyes. Go on. I'll have to cook dinner. I know. I'll do it now, love. I'm wrapping up now. Go on. I know. Yeah. I know. We're going to be living in the third world soon, so don't worry about that. Anyway, channel shout outs. Who wants to go first? We'll go with you, Matt, first. Go ahead. Channel shout out.
So I have a channel. It's Matt Pot. I've just started bringing back a lot of videos and stuff. So I recently did a review of Godzilla 1954. And yeah, so I talk about physical media and stuff like that. So yeah, you can check me out on that channel, Matt Pot, and I think PD Rich actually put it in the chat as well. So the link.
Yeah, he will. I'll get you to mention it, but PD will be throwing them in the chat as well at the same time. So we'll go with we friend problem being, because apparently I'm fighting with you all the time. You know, that's the rumor going around, that apparently you're not talking to me. I'm not talking to you. We had fallen out, and we're sending people to dox people and all of this other fucking nonsense. But anyway, it's a pleasure having you on as always. But do you want to do your channel shout outs? Is there anything that you've been working on that you'd like to tell people about?
Well, Jack and I went to see Nosferatu at the cinema recently, and we came out of that experience going, "What the fuck did we just watch?" It wasn't Nosferatu, that's for sure. So it's got a lot of positive reviews. We're not certain about that, but we're going to be editing up. Well, I mean, we had a conversation. We just recorded a conversation. We're just going to put that up on his channel, Jack Rabbit Podcasts. So that's going to be done over this week.
Yeah, I seen the trailer for that movie, and I was like, "No, that's not my jam." But I'll listen. I'll listen.
I was so excited. Jack will tell. I was really, really excited to go and see this, and then I came out of it just going.
So when did you realise it was shit?
It's about
Very
midway.
early,
Well,
yeah.
I kind of had, I kind of got a bit kind of at the start. I just didn't like his design.
Right.
Mm.
Right. So Jack, as Lee, anything else to plug? Sorry.
That's it. No, just that for now. I've got
Right.
nothing at the moment.
Oh. Jack, we'll let you. I know Lee has already plugged you, but if you want to plug again and whatever else you want to add to that.
No, that's yeah. So I've got a YouTube channel, Drawing Jackrabbit, where I review action figures when I can actually muster up the confidence to upload. I also am trying to get a podcast channel going where I just with my good friend Lee and hopefully some future guests I want to bring on. I have actually brought on the one and only Bowles Trek, where we reviewed the Halloween series. Hopefully we'll be able to review the Friday the 13th series soon. But yeah, just trying to get that podcast channel going, and yeah, don't have much of a social media presence at the moment, just because everything's all horrible and depressing.
Right.
So yeah, not much to plug at the moment. I'm quite keeping low till I get my confidence back. But just thanks for bringing me on this stream, Noel. It really has been great.
No problem. It's been brilliant having you on. I will be back here again soon, folks. I won't leave it so long. I will be back this week. It's just I'm easing myself back in again. I have been very busy. As you know, I won't get into it, but both countries politically are fucked. That's all I'll say.
Noel, I meant to ask you: are we going to do that Alien Romulus stream?
We will. I'm not met. I'll sort it. You know what? We'll do it this weekend, right? If you're around, if you're available.
I'll be available Saturday, but not Sunday.
Right. Well, Saturday could be better. Let me see. I just want to check something real quick because I don't normally, because I made a deal with Cheryl that I wouldn't really stream the weekends, but I could do Saturday because we're easing ourselves back in on this channel. I can do this Saturday. So just let me see actually though. Yeah, Saturday is actually perfect. So what time Saturday? So we can tell people right here and now. And I have to rewatch that fucking movie again. But by God, when I watched it, listen, I'm an Alien fan, like Jack, right? You all know that I've literally spoke about the franchise loads of times. But by God, was this movie just a fucking weak remake of Alien, in my opinion? And there's one scene in it. I think me and Jack will agree. We'll talk about it when I watch the movie again. But there's a scene in the movie that's absolutely fucking ridiculous, and it's just I'm like, what the fuck? Get the fuck. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I will squeeze in the Christmas special as well. I'll try do that as well. Listen, I've loads to do this week, but I will be back. I'm not going to be going anywhere, as I said. It's just over the Christmas, I just wasn't feeling it coming on, and I just have to be honest with myself and you guys. There's no point in me coming on here if I don't have the passion to talk about the stuff that I'm talking about. I don't want to be that way with you guys. So when I feel up to talking about Doctor Who, that's when I'll come on. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the only fair way to do it, because I'm not going to get as Gobby did. Gobby walked away. Don't want to be getting stressed, and I better go because she's getting moaning again. Anyway, I'm off now to cook. Yes, right. I'm off to cook. I'm off to cook the dinner. Right, I'm going to be reported now by all the little lefty twats now. He's abusing his wife. He's not fucking feeding her. So I better go and fucking feed her before people have the guardian knocking on my door. Panel, pleasure. Queen Charlotte, thank you for coming on. Seriously, that made me day. But it also Lee coming on, and Jack and Matt also as well. Nice to see us. Hopefully we can do this again, and maybe make it a little bit more regular like the old days. We'll see what happens moving forward, but it's been brilliant. Thank you for all joining me, and I'll talk just for the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh, look at that. Right. See you.